That doesn't sound like I'm on. Am I on?
You're on.
Huh. Doesn't now. Do you get a little? Hey, give a.
Hi. Yeah, it didn't sound right at the beginning.
Did not sound right. No. We've done this a lot.
It was on our end, I think.
We've done it a lot.
Yeah.
And so there's a way that it sounds when I say we're doing it live, and away we go. And it didn't sound the right way, but it is. Good to see you, buddy. How you living?
It's Monday.
Is it?
The sun's actually out, of course. It's a beautiful day.
Yesterday was nice.
Yesterday was fantastic.
Yesterday was a very nice day. Saturday pretty much broke me. That was a tough pill to swallow on Saturday. It finally stopped raining in my neck of the woods right around 1, like 12:31.
Okay.
I got the email from the club closing the course around 11:08, which is pretty early on a Saturday to call it.
A Saturday in June, a Father's Day Saturday weekend.
That's right. That's right.
Now,
Now, we played yesterday. The boys and I played yesterday, and we were still cart path only, and it was justified. I could tell you, like, it would not have been good to drive golf carts out. It was still a sponge yesterday. So, yeah, it was just brutal. They had a hell of a time at the state baseball tournament this weekend down in Canton and Akron, and they were playing at midnight on Saturday night trying to get games in.
Yep.
Just tough go of it. And we don't need to. It's beautiful yesterday. It's beautiful today, but I don't ever recall a spring like this in my time here, like just this much rain.
It was
so many weekends too. Like we lost so many weekends.
It was 65 degrees on Saturday.
Yeah, that's right.
Like this isn't late May where you might get one of those. This is June.
It's June, man.
We're approaching the equinox, aren't we?
It's this week.
Is it Friday?
Yeah, it's like the 21st or 22nd. Yeah,
okay.
we're almost there.
How about a little summer weather? Now, it appears the summer weather is coming.
Yeah, it seems like we're locked in now, right?
I believe that the 90s are approaching. We're going to go from 60 to 90.
Somebody said this to me on social last week. They said we don't really have spring in Ohio. We have cold, rain, and summer. And I'm like, that's pretty good. That's not bad.
Yeah.
We have football season. Weather's usually very good in football season.
Of course it is. We can't do anything.
Right.
Like my golf season.
Well, everybody
ends
else
like
can.
when
We
training
can't.
camp. Yeah.
We can't. Yeah.
Correct.
I keep doing that because I've got, we have training camp. When do we I know Kev said when he was on with us last week, said 40 days or whatever.
I would think maybe
it's that last week of July,
yes,
somewhere in there. And I know Ohio State is like they're going like the 30th, 31st, something like that is when they're starting. And I know we're right around there too. And it's just like I was doing this with my wife, and I'm like, gosh, I've only got like 40 days of 30-some days of summer before all that. She's like, what are you talking about? We go all the way into August. I'm like, you do.
You
get to, and the boys get to. I don't. That's it. That's the list, man.
But do your boys really get to? Because don't they start like football practice the first week in August?
Football practice will start end of July. Yeah. So they really don't.
Which is dumb at that age.
It's too early. It's too early. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what that's about. I don't know. That's youth sports. That's a show for another day. But it does seem like it's an awful lot of it. But it was, so anyway, yesterday was great. Weather was great. And it's kind of the realization as I pulled in here today, you got the youth football camp going on out there. Our rookies are out there.
They are.
Instructing the youth of America. And now it's camp season. We have, it's camp season. It's travel baseball, obviously still very much going on. Travel lacrosse will be going on. You'll do a little bit of hoops, and away you go. So, and this is camp time. What was the best camp you went to as a kid? Did you have one you really enjoyed?
I have one that we got into a lot of trouble in.
Well, that's part of it.
Yeah, Tiffin University. We ended up there for a team camp. I'm pretty sure law enforcement got involved at one point because we tried to start something with townies.
Sure. Oh, no.
Yeah. I mean, it was
big city Cleveland kids going to go fight some townies from Tiffin.
I don't. We had a couple rabble rousers on the squad. I was not one of those when it came to this type of deal. Yeah. That was fun. We went to a camp in Hiram. I almost got struck by lightning. Like I don't know if there was ever like a camp that you were like, that was great. Like you played in gyms with no air conditioning.
Yeah.
Like you'd go through some of the instruction and you were like, can we just play the team, get the games? Like we're here as a team.
We're here as a team. Can we just get to that?
Yeah. Can we get to the game portion of the program?
Yeah, that's funny. like those are outposts. Tiffin is an outpost. Hiram those are outposts. I mean, we've played youth sports in Hiram, not in Tiffin, but we used to go through there when we lived in Dublin, and we would drive up to the condo. There was a way you would go that you'd drive through Tiffin. Those are choices to get there, man.
Yeah, camps weren't such a huge deal like they are now. Like you would go to a team camp, as a high school team.
You didn't do it was big, like instructional. Like we would go to the town. Like our high school basketball coach would always have a camp. We'd go to that. Then we'd go to one regionally.
And we always had to work it. The high school.
Oh, when you were in high school. Yeah. When you were a little kid, I mean. And then you'd get you could usually pick between for us, you could pick like the Montana State basketball camp or the University of Montana basketball camp. And then the one that was like the big one that you go to where I grew up was Northwest basketball camp. So those were the ones that we went to. And to your point, we went to team camp once there, I think going into my senior year of basketball. And they have it's team camp, to your point. You just want to get to the games. Like, let's just play games. So their setup was always instruction for the morning and then games in the afternoon and night. Like that was the setup. And I'll never forget them trying to explain to us that Tuesday was D-Day and that you would not pick up a basketball. And I don't care what age you are. If somebody tells you you're not going to pick up a basketball and you're just going to play defense for the whole day, that's brutal. That is an absolutely brutal thing. And I remember
who does that at a camp?
Yeah, I know. They did. That's the way it was.
Nope.
It was all defense.
I don't feel good. I don't. And I was a primary defensive player.
Yeah.
The offensive skill set wasn't exactly ideal. There is no way in hell in the middle of summer that I'm doing that for a day. Nope. I don't. I ate something, bad food, whatever the case, no way in hell I would have ever signed up for a camp like that. There weren't like college camps around here.
You'd have to go down to probably, I mean, I'm sure Akron had a camp. I would think. I'm sure Bowling Green had camps. Yeah, every college. I mean, that's where they made their money in those days. That's where all the assistants made their money.
I guess maybe Cleveland State had one, but maybe it was a day camp. It was more playing.
Yeah.
You know, we had the Nike Summer League in high school, so like that was kind of cool because Nike gave us free gear.
Yes,
and we got to play. It was a team camp, but like. Most of it were team camp. I mean, AAU circuit, I was in a different city all the time.
Yep.
Like, so that part, that's AAU was only in the summer.
Yeah,
it wasn't like it is now.
Now it's in the spring, primarily.
I mean,
well, high school still does. Yeah. No, I mean, right now they're usually with their teams. Yeah,
we would start AAU stuff in like late April, early May, and we'd go through July, like middle of July. So,
yeah.
We never. I don't recall like individual camps. I just don't. It was more the team camp deal. How did your son do in Alliance?
They did all right. I think they bounced around all right. That was kind of a nice one. They flew. That was a Sunday night, Monday night, or just one night. It was just a bunch of. They played like 14 games in 2 days.
Perfect.
So that was a win. It's camp season. So that's what happens. We got, starting this week, we're traveling all weekend with lacrosse. Or all summer with lacrosse. So that starts this weekend.
My best friend from college, I looked at pictures of him this weekend holding up a tent in basically a tornado in Georgia at a lacrosse tournament.
Oh, because of the crazy weather.
I sent him a message yesterday wishing him a happy Father's Day. I said, congratulations on I hope you're still alive. And glad to see that you survived the carnage that looked like a bunch of tents that were just torn to shreds. I'm like, isn't youth sports great? It's just awesome.
It's something, man. There's a lot of it. There certainly is. And the experiences are all over the map. I want to ask you about your experience watching the United States Open. How much did you watch this weekend?
So,
Saturday we were pretty kind of couldn't do much.
So that ended up being, hey, we're going to run a bunch of errands because we had 22 people at our house last night for dinner.
That's big.
It's a small gathering on the family front. So the wife and I were running around. However, when the majors are on and I can't watch them, I have gotten to the point, if you have Sirius XM,
oh, it's great.
The golf play-by-play is pretty legit.
It's good.
I mean, Tarico's on it. They've got other guys, like the guys that you would see from other networks are doing the U.S. Open, even though the U.S. Open's on NBC.
Yep.
So I got to listen to a ton of it. And then yesterday, I didn't get to watch much, but I went back and watched. Somehow they condensed the entire final round into 45 minutes.
Oh,
on
really?
YouTube for the top 4 groups.
Okay.
So I watched that, and then I watched some other highlights as well. I watched Friday, and then I watched part of Saturday. Sunday I had it on, but we were entertaining at that point. But so I caught up on everything last night.
I thought it was. I found it interesting. I had a buddy of mine text me. He's like, "Is this the idea? Is this what the U.S. Open is now? It's just brutal golf, where the course wins, and it's just about survival, and it's kind of random who wins because you need a lot of luck depending on the lie that you get." And we were texting back and forth, and I said, you might be right. I said that might be what the U.S. Open is. The U.S. Open might just be the most ridiculously difficult setup golf course every year that anyone's going to play. And I don't necessarily know that it's fun to watch. Let's just think about this for a second. Oakmont has one that they left. It has no water. It has a total elevation change of 70 feet on the whole course, so it's relatively flat. You've been by it a bunch. I've been by it a bunch. You drive right by it on 76 on the Turnpike when you're heading east. But I was riveted by it because from the standpoint of maybe I had no choice on Saturday because it was garbage weather. But even yesterday, and the rain delay worked out to where the boys and I went out and played, and then we were able to watch like the last 5 or 6 holes as we were having dinner. And it's funny. I found myself like rooting for the course in an odd way, just the positions they were in. It's crazy to me, and I know if Z were here, he would be able to explain it, and maybe you have a better handle on it too, but it's crazy to me that somebody in those final couple pairings just didn't hit something they could hit straight off the tee and just stay and play. Like, couldn't you just play for par on those things and however far they hit an iron or a 3-wood or whatever, just something that they can control, because they kept hitting driver and it just kept going left and right and all over the map.
How about just a wood and going
Just
200
anything.
instead of 300?
Yeah, don't bomb it. Just put something out there 250 and do it again. But obviously there's a reason that they don't. So, I mean, I asked that question, but the answer, they already have the answer for it, that the risk reward is, it must be worth it. So I found myself rooting for it. And then I thought to myself, well, what is a sports equivalent that you would watch that, in terms of how the sport is traditionally played, this is drudgery. This is not a fun watch. That you got a great, I mean, Spahn hit a 67-footer to ice it, and that was awesome. He was going to win anyway. He was going to always 2-putt from there. So there's that, and there's a couple, but for the most part, it was just kind of like surviving it. The best I could come up with in sports is the Army-Navy game. I love the Army-Navy game. It's not – I watch it every year. I'm locked in the whole time. It's not particularly aesthetically pleasing football. It's kind of let's just run the same play, or variations of it over and over again, both sides, 2.5 yards in a cloud of dust, punt, field position. Don't really throw the ball much. It's not really fun football to watch. But there is something, an appreciation I have for the fact that they executed at that level. And that's probably the best I could do. I was trying to think from an NFL perspective. I don't even know if it's possible anymore. It'd probably be like those early 2000s Baltimore Ravens with Dilfer, where they were going to beat you one way, just physically. It wasn't going to be fun to watch. They're going to beat you physically with defense. That's kind of what the U.S. Open has become for me. It's kind of become just, it's drudgery. There's not that many great shots anymore. It's just kind of survive and advance, especially at Oakmont. I mean, they can't score there. They can't. And it's like the one place on the planet they can't.
I get thoroughly entertained when golfers get angry and do things. I mean, Rory,
there's a lot of that.
Almost throwing a club.
No, Rory did throw a club. Rory smashed a box marker, a tee box marker, one of Oakmont's. He smashed one of those. Then he threw his driver. It bounced off his bag, and then he caught it.
Yeah, he came right back to him. And then someone destroyed something in the locker room.
That was Wyndham Clark destroyed the locker room.
Not sure he's going to be allowed back.
No, that's outrageous behavior. Like, get a hold of yourself.
Yeah.
Everyone's playing in the same conditions you are.
Correct.
Like this isn't you're not special. Handle it.
By the way, at no point this weekend did I even hear his name until it was
with Wyndham.
Yeah. Until it was brought up that he destroyed the locker room, and I'm like, well, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, I would say Army. I mean, Army Navy's the pageantry, and then from there, sometimes it's like you said. It's fairly ugly.
Yeah.
Or you brought it up last week. It's playing in an insanely cold weather game or horrible
Something
weather
like that,
where
yeah.
you can't move the ball. I remember growing up, there was a Bears playoff game in the fog.
It's against Philly.
And you literally couldn't see from me to you.
Right.
And you're like, okay, well, we moved the ball 8 yards. Let's punt it and try to pin them back, and hopefully they'll make a mistake and we'll capitalize. And you're just like, how about we play this another day?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or wait this out. I don't – the other thing I do enjoy is the golfers. I mean, there was a lot of swearing that did not get edited out.
No.
That did not make the cut. And just watching these guys, like, they're like, I had it going this way. Mm-hmm. Like, those guys are the best in the world at reading a green.
Yeah.
So when it doesn't go that way – watching that reaction to me is priceless. I love that. That being said, like I like the names on in the major weekends. I want the names, and I didn't have the names.
No, I think I think I think that speaks to a little bit of what the U.S. Open has become, though, because J.J. Spahn was 150 to 1.
Yeah.
To win. Wyndham Clark won a couple of years ago, relative kind of out of the blue guy. There was another one, I'm blanking on it, from like 2009 that was 150 to 1. Lucas Glover won at 150 to 1. So there's been some of these like kind of just, you don't want to say lucky, but kind of like 1 in a million shots that win the U.S. Open. It doesn't feel like we see as many of those on those other courses.
No.
Certainly at the Masters, you don't see that very often. You at the British, you do a little bit. There's some randomness that happens sometimes with the British Open where they get that too. But the British is a lot like maybe the U.S. in the standpoint of you don't know what's going to happen weather-wise at the British. Like sometimes the weather can be crazy, and it's just a matter of when can you get out and play, and then can you have some success. But I think that's kind of the thing with the U.S. Open. Like there's some randomness to it. What was interesting was they had the rain out, or they had the rain delay, and then they went to Tiger in 2009. They showed his in 2009. And
pretty amazing.
Well, then you go, well, God, look how great was that? Just
and now I got to go back to that.
Completely loaded. Him hitting putt after putt from forever, banging him in on Torrey that day, which we all remember watching. And you just think you're just lucky that you were able to witness Tiger, because you're never going to see anything like that again, where you have all of the things that kind of led to that. You mentioned Rory. I think did you hear his meltdown, his press conference? Like, not meltdown, but he gave like a 2-minute, I'm past the point of caring about any of this. Did you hear this?
I did not.
It's good. It's about 2 minutes long, and it's a Q&A. So he hasn't talked to the media and stuff for a little bit.
He refused to talk after the PGA Championship.
Yeah, here's what people don't realize. None of those guys have to talk. None of them. He talks and has for years at everything. So the way that it works, and I'm sure it's this way at Firestone when they had the event, the marquee players typically hold one press conference in advance of the tournament.
Correct.
So Rory, Tiger in the old days, for a while, Spieth, Dustin Johnson, Koepka, like those, DeChambeau would be one of those guys when those guys were all on the PGA Tour. They would have a press conference like on Tuesday or Wednesday that everybody could go to, and then most of those guys talked after every round. Like that was just kind of understood. Like you're one of the bell cows.
You're the face of the PGA, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and talk. They're not required to, so they're just doing it because it's the right thing to do. Well, when LIV happened and Koepka, DeChambeau, Rahm, all of these guys went, Mickelson for that matter, all of these guys went LIV, then all of a sudden on the PGA Tour, it was Rory and it was Scotty and it was supposed to be Justin Thomas and Jordan Spieth, but those guys haven't been consistently good.
Correct.
And so you don't need to talk to them all the time. So who are you going to talk to? Scotty and Rory. When it came time to LIV versus PGA, who are you going to talk to? Rory, because Tiger was hurt. So there wasn't anybody else to help him carry the water for the PGA Tour. Because, by the way, that's where the majority of the press is still on the PGA Tour, the golf press. It's not covering LIV. No one's covering LIV. Hell, half those events are overseas, so nobody sees it. So there's no traditional media covering it. So that same traditional media that used to be spread out between Rory and Koepka and Rahm and DeChambeau and Scheffler and Tiger and Phil and all of it, it's now all Rory, Scotty, kind of all of it is them. And I think the fatigue of that has gotten to him. And I think the other thing that I don't think anybody saw coming is when he won the Masters, my working theory is he did not need people at that point. He did not need people to go to bat for his legacy or his game or anything. The legacy is cemented. You've won the Grand Slam of golf. There's 6 guys who have done it. You're one of them. You're good. You're a first ballot Hall of Famer at this point. I don't need people to prop me up anymore. My game, my accomplishment stands for its own. And I think that, coupled with he's clearly someone who reads everything that's written about him. I'm not talking about in the press. I'm talking about social media. Clearly reads all of that. And he's just gotten to this point where that it all just kind of has unraveled. Now, he shot 67 in the final round. Yeah. But at one point they said, well, what do you want on Sunday? He goes, a 4.5-hour round and to get out of here. That's not him.
No.
That's not who he's been his whole career. But I think he's just spent. I think he's just done. So that's a little bit of a background into what happened over the weekend with him.
That's interesting. I was making notes as I was watching everything. Like at one point, Spawn, who wins the tournament, bogeyed 5 of the first 6 holes. Yeah. And no one could putt. No one. I mean, it looked like you were rushing putts.
Yeah.
It was – you mentioned the opportunities. Hey, Victor Hovland, drive for show, putt for dough, buddy. How about a putter? I think he was ranked 51st in putting this weekend.
Yeah.
That's on you. Like, you probably win the major if you can putt. Because he had some of the best striking of the weekend.
This is what I think happened to him, and I think it happened to all of them, but they basically putted on 3 different courses.
Sure.
And on the final round, you putted on 2 different courses in the same day. It was drying out. They were running a million miles an hour. Then all of a sudden it poured. Like poured. Yeah, it was ponding. And so all of a sudden now you're like skiffing it through water. It's like a totally different sport. You're having to learn it on the fly. So, yeah, I mean, the guys in the final pairing shot 79, 78.
Yeah. The Spawn story is fantastic. I remember him at the par 3 competition at the Masters. Mm-hmm. He played really well there. And, I mean, the story of him at 3 a.m. having to run to CVS. I don't know if you've heard this.
I did.
Like, because his youngest daughter was throwing up and he needed meds. Like, hey, can someone go get the kid some medicine?
Yeah.
That's not the guy playing
in the final round.
Yeah. Yeah. Playing in the final round of the U.S. Open. Hatton and his just improbable like Spawn got hot at the right time, and Hatton literally went the opposite direction on 17 and 18, just imploding.
Yeah, yeah, and it was interesting. He was at the. I'm sure you saw the clip of him doing his post-round chat, and like he was despondent, and then all of a sudden he sees the putt roll in, and you can't help but be like, oh man, good for him. Robert McIntyre in at +1 for a while. I thought that might win.
Yeah,
and I think he thought that too.
Yeah, he was
right there,
reckless abandon. He was feeling it, but like he's Irish. Am I correct on that? I think he's
Scottish
from
or Irish.
Yeah.
I remember we had him in because we do the British Open thing that we do, the pool. And I remember one of us, I think I had him as like a rookie or something like that, or maybe that was the Masters. I remember Robert McIntyre. I remember having him on one of our things that we did.
As the weather got worse, he got better.
He did.
He's like, oh, this is like a normal Tuesday at home.
Yeah. No big deal.
He played really well. It was entertaining. But like, I'm going. Where are the guys that I know? Like,
well,
it wasn't. I don't think it was a great weekend for the PGA, to be honest.
For professional golf, no,
yeah,
no, it wasn't. It wasn't particularly a good weekend for professional golf. It was. My hunch is, unless you were like unless you're either a die-hard golfer or somebody who, or the weather got you, or just someone who watches the majors, which is primarily what I am. I mostly just watch the majors and the tournaments that are either near or dear to my heart or that I know about. I don't watch every week. Unless you're that, there wasn't anything to get you to tune in.
No.
I'll give this to I do think that the U.S. Open, though, it very much has an identity. It's brutal. It's going to be the hardest thing they play every year, and you just sign up for it. The other thing that's pretty crazy is there's only 2 years. I want to say I think it's like 2048. Is it 2038? No, 2038. They're locked in. It's 2043 and 2048 are the only U.S. Open sites until 2051 that aren't sewn up.
Is it the same 5 golf courses?
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to see Oakmont all the time. It seems like Oakmont, Pebble, and Pinehurst are in the rotation like every time it comes around, and then they're rotating the other one. So it's obviously we just played Oakmont. Next year Shinnecock, then Pebble Beach, then Winged Foot, then Pinehurst, Marion, Riviera, Pebble, Oakmont, Oakland Hills, Pinehurst, Shinnecock, Pebble, Country Club, LACC, Marion, Pinehurst, Oakmont, Pebble, Pinehurst. Pinehurst has it in 41. It's got it twice in a 6-year period. Pinehurst has it. Then
and that
Oakmont
course
again,
wasn't great.
No. Oakmont again, Marion, and Oakland Hills. So they are not. There's only 2 U.S. Opens through 2051 that aren't decided. The rest of them are all locked in.
Why? Why would you do that if you're the PGA?
Well, it's a USGA.
Okay. Why are they doing that?
I don't know. My guess is they're following the British Open, where it's kind of the same sites all the time. But obviously over there's so many fewer sites to choose from. Let's see what we've got at. It's kind of the same. It's Baltusrol, Congressional, Olympic, Ocean. This is PGA. And PGA Frisco, they've got a handful of them already kind of locked in. Not as many as the U.S. Open. But they got a handful of them locked in on the PGA as well. And so we're not going to get that new course. The idea that, this is, I guess, the difference between the Open Championship and the U.S. Open is there are kind of a finite amount of golf courses
over there.
Yeah. Where we have, it feels like infinite that you could play at. There's a bunch of brand new courses that have opened. Maybe they just can't house the people. I don't know. But, it's an interesting one where you root for the course, which is a rare thing.
What, going back to your little golf match yesterday, were you and Bootsy winners?
They got us in hoops. They beat us in hoops 3-1. The summer series sits at Bootsy and I think 12-9. Still have a slight series lead on them.
3-1.
3-1 Sunday wasn't good.
Were they hitting from the outside?
No. Our operation has to be I have to hit half the threes I take, and Bootsy's got to make all his layups. That's our only way we can win, because otherwise it's tough. Just how big they've gotten. So we lost 3-1 there. We took care of them on the golf course. Bootsy had a big moment on 7 where he I pulled it out of play, and I'm like, dude. Normally I have him hit first, but I just went up there and hit it, and I just pulled it out of play, and I wasn't going to go look for it. And I said, buddy, I need you. And he piped a little screaming eagle right down about 125 yards right down the middle.
We can make do with the rest of it.
We can work with this, buddy. So, yeah, we had a nice victory there on the green. So it was good. It was a nice Father's Day. You have a good Father's Day?
Yeah.
Other than your entertaining.
Well, that's my my youngest. 80 was asking me last night. She goes, do you have a good day? I go, it was a day.
Yeah. That's it.
And she goes, well, that doesn't sound like great. I said, today's not really about me. And she goes, yeah, it is. You're our father.
Right.
And I said, yeah, but it's about Grandpa. It's about my father-in-law and a couple of my brother-in-law. I'm like, it's for everybody else to come over and have a good time. Yeah. And everybody got together, and we're playing cornhole, and I've got the can jam out, and I've got the bocce set out.
Yeah.
Everybody's just having a good time, whether it's just visiting or playing out in the backyard or whatever the case. I'm like, I'll have my fun later.
Yeah.
Like, Father's Day is not – it's a lot of work. It's our annual thing. Like, I do an Italian sausage fry.
Right.
We got the peppers and you got to clean the inside and the outside because if people want to come inside to watch the U.S. Open,
Sure.
Even though I want everything outside,
Right. Yeah.
So
you can't,
it's at 9:15. Everybody left last night, and I was like,
oh, that's a full day.
Okay.
Yeah, I was asleep.
All right. Now I got to clean up. So
yeah, I think I was lights out by 10. I was exhausted by the time I'm done.
I am playing a ton of golf this coming weekend.
Good for you.
And we'll go from there.
Those are your hot topics of the day, presented by University Hospitals, official healthcare partner of your Cleveland Browns. Coming up next, head coach Kevin Stefanski for mandatory minicamp press conference. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. We're off and running. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Young Browns fan in the making, join the Junior Browns backers presented by UH, Rainbows Babies and Children's, in association with Cardinal Credit Union, the official kid clubs for ages 4 to 12. Join now to score an invite to the first event of the season. It's Field Day. Visit juniorbrownsbackers.com to join today. Now we head to the podium presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here's your head coach, Kevin Stefanski.
Another day for
You're done.
rest, or is this sort of part of the plan with them?
Yeah, all part of the plan. He got reps today in a couple drills, but every day, like I've told you, we're going to be real intentional about how we divvy them up.
Kevin, this question is more appropriate now than it was in OTAs. Why hasn't Shedeur faced the number one defense in all?
Yeah, again, like I've told you guys, let's not look too much into who's out there when. We're in installation phase, we're in teaching phase, so not much to look into.
But a quick follow-up on that, as we do progress into training camp and closer to these preseason games, just closer to the season, is it reasonable to expect that someone who is practicing with the first team is under serious consideration to be starting quarterback?
Yeah, we're so far away from that type of thought process, Daniel. We're in our installation phase. It's the off season. It's OTAs, so we're going to keep the focus there. Once you get into training camp, of course, you're getting ready to play games and ultimately getting ready for playing the season. But right now, that's not our focus.
So do you think that changes like day one of training camp, Kevin? Like you get back and the rotation means more, and you have a depth chart in your back?
Yeah, I think we're using this off season. I think this is we got one more practice to go, so we'll use all these practices like we have for every position to learn about our players and learn what guys do best and those type of things. I mean, obviously, like for a wide receiver, want to find out what routes he's comfortable with. For the quarterbacks, find out what concepts they're comfortable with. So that's really what this off season has been about. Of course, your mentality changes a little bit as you get into training camp, but that's really not our focus right now.
Kevin, Dylan was talking yesterday about trying to fight the Amazon lifestyle, I think he said, where we all just expect everything to happen immediately and be with your feet are. Given the way coverage has changed with the league since you've been, how can you empathize with these guys who are trying to, they just have more to battle on that front as they go through a competition than maybe guys used to in the past?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest difference nowadays is social media. I would expect. Listen, the news cycle is 365 days a year, and there's a lot of content and there's a lot of hours to fill, as you guys all well know. So we understand how popular our sport is, how interested our fans are in our sport. So we embrace that. We like that part. Having said that, once we get inside the building, we really do focus on where our feet are. We focus that we're here. We focus on what we have in front of us. And I think all of our players have done a great job of understanding that.
How do you try personally to try to block that stuff out? What's your keep myself centered kind of?
I'm not on social media, probably number one. But listen, I've been in this sport long enough. The NFL, we know how popular this is, how much interest level there is. It's why our sport is so healthy. And we understand the important role our fans play in our sport. This is when we get to training camp, we'll get our fans out here to be a part of this with us, which we're excited about. I'm excited to be in front of our fields at Huntington Bank Stadium, and that'll be that's the fun part of this business for us is the competitive spirit with a fan base behind you. For right now, though, this is OTAs, and this is the focus really is on the work, and we're not going to let much else get in the way.
Kevin, how much will you take into account the opinions and the feedback of veterans, longtime veterans like Joel and Myles and Jerry and David and those guys when you are making your quarterback decisions?
Yeah, I'm not there, Mary Kay, yet in terms of talking to other players about those type of decisions. I've leaned on players before for a variety of different things, but I'm not really there yet.
Kevin, no place kicking, is that unusual for your minicamp?
They have been kicking, just not necessarily out here, Tony. It's just part of their routine of when Dustin's getting ready to kick. He doesn't kick every day.
Kevin, has any of these undrafted guys jumped out at you now that you've had some OTAs?
They have. I don't want to single any guys out, but I've been very impressed. I've been impressed with this rookie class in total. The guys are outstanding workers. They're like I've said to you guys, we've no issues. Guys are in early. They're working hard. But I include the drafted and undrafted guys when I say that. It's a really impressive class.
Kevin, I know it's line there's only too much into this, but DeAndre Johnson's 10th in line yesterday. Today was 4th. Is that just natural evolution?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's just, again, getting up to speed on some of the terminology and that type of thing. So, yes, definitely don't read into that.
Did you feel a need to have a conversation with him about what happened last year, or was it just Andrew who did that?
Yeah, I've talked to Deontay. When we signed him, I had a good talk with Deontay.
You're okay? You're okay with this?
Yeah.
Kevin, I know it's hard at this point when you're not truly blocking out there, but just what are your early impressions of the cutting ability of Quinshon?
Yeah, it's hard. Like you mentioned, Darryl, it's hard to evaluate without pads on. Running back's a hard position to evaluate in these settings. I will tell you, with Quinshon, with Dylan, the young guys, and I could talk about the room in general, but speaking about those two young guys, they've done a great job of learning the system, understanding their roles and what we're asking them to do. We've put a lot on their plates. So, yeah, of course, you see in college tape, you see his cutting ability at that size is rare. Harder to see out here, although it does happen at times, but it's different when the defense isn't bringing you to the ground.
What are you hoping Deontay can add, given the success that he's had in this league?
Yeah, another veteran player that has had success in this league. We've gone against him, so I know what type of player he is, having been in the division with him, so know his skill set, but another veteran player.
Kevin, yesterday.
It'll be like a normal camp practice.
It'll be normal, a little bit shorter, a little bit earlier, but normal.
Kevin, yesterday you were talking about the discussions in the QB room between Joe and the younger guys and Kenny too. How have those types of conversations and like camaraderie in the QB room changed over the years you've been in the NFL when you have an older guy and then some younger guys, or does it just depend on the personalities in the room?
Yeah, I think it's so dependent on the personalities. I think back to Brett Favre and Tavares Jackson, Sage Rosenfels, Joe Webb. That was a fun room. It's just so dependent on who the guys are, and I've been very, very lucky, very, very fortunate to be in some great rooms with professionals, guys that work hard at their craft, but also we try to have fun while we're in there as well.
The hurry up period, was that the first? Did you do that in OTAs?
We started to introduce some 2-minute into the offense and defense last week, and then started to work a little bit today.
What do you look for in the quarterbacks differently in like a high red? Keep in the red zone, because you did a lot of that today.
Yeah, we've done a lot of red zone period for a bunch of different reasons. Number one, it's so important. Obviously, it's the scoring portion of our field. But number two, it's a nice way to take care of legs. So if you do a red zone drill, you're not running 50 yards, if you will. So you try to incorporate some red zone into what we do. But the game does change down there. The field becomes wider than it is long. A lot of those windows become extremely tight. Obviously, we're not working the run game right now, but in the run game, those running backs have to sometimes bring their own blocker. We're going to have a safety that we can't block. So the game really does change down there.
Kevin, in terms of installs, how many installs of offense do you think that you've gotten through so far?
We've gotten through the whole system, which for us essentially amounts to about 7 installs.
So that's about normal?
That's about normal, yeah.
Kevin, how is Jamari game so far? Had a couple throws today, or passes yesterday.
He's had a really strong spring. Is here all the time, working on his body. Very intelligent player, can line up in multiple positions, which I think is valuable. And then he showed up. He's caught the ball well, and the quarterbacks like how he gets open. He finds a way to get open versus zone versus man.
Kevin, there's Mike Hall and David Bell that haven't practiced all offseason. Do you expect them to be ready to go when we get to training camp?
I'll have a better update as we get closer to training camp.
All right, there you go. Coach Stefanski from the podium, brought to you by Vivid Seats. Coming up next, we'll play a little higher or lower. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. A car, truck, or motorcycle accident caused you injury, call the injury lawyers at 1-800-ELK Ohio for a free case review. Elk & Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time to play a little higher or lower, better or worse. Hello, Gibby.
Hi. Hello.
How are you?
Hey, real quick.
Go ahead.
I just saw this, and I'm like, now's as good a time as ever in the offseason to bring this up.
Go.
Rookie QBs in NFL history in their rookie seasons that have thrown the ball 500-plus times and run for 400-plus yards. There are 4 of them. Can you name them?
Thrown it 500 and ran for 400?
Yep. It's all recent.
Yeah, it's all going to be pretty recent.
Yep, in the last
Jaden Daniels,
15
obviously.
years, 20 years.
Jaden Daniels.
Not on that.
He didn't throw? Was it? I mean, he ran for over 400. He must not have had 500 attempts last year. I would say...
looking it up. Let's see if this is wrong already. He did not throw 500 passes.
So
he threw 480
passes. Okay. Cam Newton.
Cam Newton is one of the 4.
Cam Newton. What
So
about
3 of the 4?
Robert Griffin III?
No.
Okay.
3 of the 4 are NFC quarterbacks.
400 yards rushing, and 500 attempts. Here's how this is. I'm going to have to cheat a little bit, in that
You're fine.
I'm not going to cheat on the stats. I won't pull up the stats. Sometimes I have to visualize teams. All right. Jalen Hurts.
No.
Did he get there? No. Dak Prescott.
Mm-mm.
Really? No.
Interesting.
Kyler?
Kyler is one of them. Kyler is number 2 on that list.
Kyler.
Newton was 1. Murray is 2.
Russ Wilson? As a
Nope.
rookie in Seattle? No, he didn't get there. I don't think Mahomes ran for... Well, no, he wasn't a rookie anyway when he played there. Did Fields get there?
No, that's what I thought too. He did not.
He didn't throw 500
Didn't-
times?
Yep.
Josh Allen?
You have 1 NFC and 1 AFC left.
And are they both active?
Yes.
Danny Dimes?
No.
No.
I would tell you in the last I would tell you that's going to give it
Stafford,
away.
no. Jordan
One's in
Love,
the
no.
NFC North and one's in the AFC West.
Jordan Love didn't play as a rookie. J.J. McCarthy didn't play at all. Goff didn't run for 400 yards, did he?
He did not.
No. Caleb Williams did?
Caleb Williams
Did
is
he
on
really?
that list.
Caleb Williams ran for 400 yards, huh? Wow. No, I obviously did not have that. And in the AFC...
Caleb Williams had a passer rating of 87.8, had 562 pass attempts. He also rushed for 481 yards.
Oh, just got it.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know. Because I don't think Lamar played enough.
AFC West.
I already said well, was it Knicks?
It was
Knicks
Bo
ran for 400
Nix.
yards? Wow, I would not have had that. I would not have had him rushing for 400 yards. Then I guess it's the other thing is you're talking about 17 games, so it probably makes some sense that it's 2 of those guys were 17.
Bo Nix had
years.
430 yards rushing.
Just barely got
Yep.
there. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah.
So Kyler, Caleb, Cam, and Bo Nix.
There you go.
There you go.
This little higher or lower, I found this guy online.
All right.
He has lists, and we like lists.
Yeah, let's list it up.
Although I can't see. Brock, can you send me the link for the actual running back ones? I know. So this guy puts it all in his Twitter thread.
Oh, okay.
So it's mildly annoying.
So you can't, just pull it up. You can't pull up, an article.
No. So This guy is all over the map, and he's got a number of other positions we can have some fun with. He's the senior media manager at Player Profiler and Fantasy Draft Fantasy.
I see this guy.
Fast Draft Fantasy. He ranked the 32 running back rooms in the NFL. His number one was the Lions with Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Craig Reynolds, and some other guy.
Okay.
The Eagles were at number 2 with Saquon, Will Shipley, and A.J. Dillon.
Okay, that seems fair.
The 49ers were 3.
I don't think you can do that with McCaffrey. I mean, he's missed 2 full seasons in the last 4 or 5.
That's what I'm saying.
Entirely. When healthy, sure.
Yeah.
Just not healthy very much.
Oh, here we go. Perfect. Thank you, Brock. It's one of those that's super strange, but I wanted to get your thoughts. And we don't have to go higher
yeah.
and all that
Go
stuff.
ahead.
So those are the top 4. Do you know one that's missing? Do you see one that's missing in there that's clearly obvious?
Well, I guess depending on how you define clearly obvious. So I'm trying to – I see 1, 2, and 4 on this list that I have.
Okay. Number 5 is Seattle.
Who's 3?
Number 3 is the Atlanta Falcons. Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
And Tyler Algier. So number 4 is the 49ers.
Yeah.
Number 5, the Seattle with Doak Walker winner KW3.
Okay.
I don't know. The Rams are number 6 with Kyron Williams being their feature. Number 7, the Chargers with Amarian Hampton and Najee Harris.
Okay. 8 is Carolina.
8 is Carolina, Chubba Hubbard. Number 9, the Ravens, Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
I feel like I would put the Ravens or should put the Ravens
Justice
a little
Hill's
bit.
all right, too. Yeah.
Someone explain to me why they're 9th.
Yeah, it seems a little low.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea you could just swap, just put San Francisco where Baltimore is.
Yeah.
Just swap them. Just put Baltimore at 4 and put San Francisco at 9. Because you can't, at this point, you can't. McCaffrey, how many, hasn't he missed 2 of the last 4 seasons?
I feel like, yes.
I mean, or at least a big part of, how old is he now? He's 29.
I mean, he was on your fantasy team.
I know. The 2 times I've drafted him number 1 overall, both times he's lost most of the years to injury. McCaffrey last year played just 2 games. And then, he played 4 games last year. And then he played just 6 games in 2022. And he played just 3 games in 2020. So this is the 3rd time where he's played less than a third of the season.
I mean, that's...
Yeah. And
when he plays, he's really good.
He's great. He had another year when he only played 7 games in Carolina. He played a 2-year stretch in Carolina, 2021, 20 and 21, where he played a total of 10 games. Yeah.
I don't... When he plays.
When he plays, yeah. Yeah, I like that Baltimore situation a lot. I think for us, what are we, 12?
So we come in at number 12 with Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson, Jerome Ford, and Pierre Strong.
I think our room is I think it's what you will see. This is the current trend, right? Where you've got a veteran who you've drafted in a mid-round in Jerome Ford, who's there. You drafted one high-round rookie running back and then another one in the late rounds. Pierre Strong's a vet. And the idea is you have a committee of guys who you can rely upon. And that's what's different from, like what Baltimore's doing with San Francisco had all of their eggs in the McCaffrey basket. The Eagles have all their eggs in the Saquon Barkley basket. And when it works brilliantly.
Yeah, the Dolphins have Achane, but he's been hurt.
Yeah.
He's number 11. The Colts were number 10. If I'm looking at the other AFC North teams.
I think Pittsburgh's better than 24. I think Jalen Warren's better than Najee. And I don't have anything.
Warren's a big problem.
And Caleb Johnson's really good. The kid at Iowa, they drafted him. I think he's very good for them. So they have them at 24 and then Cincinnati at 26 with Chase Brown and Samaje Perine. Cincinnati, this is something that you'd have to think about from the Cincinnati perspective. If you were a Bengal fan and I told you you're getting Dan Marino's career out of Joe Burrow, would you take it?
Yeah.
Okay. No Super Bowls. Played for one in year 2. Burrow played for one in year 2. Never really got close, but they won a lot. Like, they never won a Super Bowl, but never even returned to the Super Bowl, but they were consistently in the mix. When he retired, led the NFL in every statistical category that mattered from a passing standpoint. Like, do you take that even if it means no Super Bowl?
It's a great question.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's very tough.
Because when you
that's
put
how they're going to have to win.
If you put it in those terms, now he took them to a Super Bowl, so clearly he's got head and shoulders above the guy I'm about to say. But if you take away that Super Bowl year, what's the difference between Joe Burrow and Andy Dalton?
Oh, I can't go there, but he's a much better quarterback than Dalton.
Yes,
in terms of
correct, but he still took. They won games. They went to the playoffs. He didn't win any playoff games.
Dalton is more. I think Dalton is a little bit. I think Burrow's more like. He's more like Allen and Lamar and those type of guys when he's healthy, like at the higher end of it.
Yeah. But if you're a Bengal fan,
Dalton and Baker a lot alike.
Okay.
In terms of what Bake's better. Bake's best is better. Bake's more physically talented, but most people think there is a really hard ceiling on Bake. The way that there is on Dalton. Burrow's ceiling is higher. He's so much more prolific.
But in terms of what they've won.
I think it's I think all those guys. I think Allen and Lamar, Burrow, because he's got to the Super Bowl, doesn't have quite the same pressure, but they're all chasing down 15 in Kansas City, and that's the part that's tricky, is they're being judged against an all-time great and that Chiefs kind of juggernaut thing. But he's really the way that they're going about it, and on this they're 26th in the run game, and they're very indifferent defensively. Their plan is going to be, we're going to outscore everybody 38-31, and let's see what happens. So, but it's an interesting one because that's basically what Marino did. It's basically Marino's career.
Yeah, Duper and Clayton go long.
Yeah, that was it.
Sling the ball around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
So I don't know if I'd sign up for that.
I think I would, because you know why? You're not entitled to Super Bowls, and it would be fun to every single year go into training camp and say, we got a shot. We got a shot. Now, Marino never got to the mountaintop. Long time didn't look like Elway was going to get to the mountaintop until they got Terrell Davis. Didn't know if they were going to get there, and then they did. But every year you could go into a season and say, we got a shot. And that's, I think, the fun of it. Is when you have one of those guys. Plus, you're going to see a lot of entertaining football. A lot of entertaining
Always
football.
entertaining.
Always. We'll go around the sports world coming up next, second hour of the program. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Second hour on a Monday edition of the program. Time to go around that sports world. Did you see Myles throw out the first pitch? He threw out the first pitch to his dad.
I did. Down in Texas, right?
Yeah. Threw out the first pitch to his dad. It looks like I'm starting to get having this theory that it looks like people are trying to bring back like the ultra baggy pant. Are you seeing this, young Brock? Are you seeing this out and about?
Jordan?
I have not.
Jordan's seeing it. Oh. Yeah. Jordan's far hipper than you. But get him on the mic. Get out of the way, young Brock. Jordan, Dr. J, you're seeing this. I'm not making this up, am I?
You're not making this up. I actually just recently said this about a month ago that people are bringing back like the super baggy clothes, which is totally fine. I think is for certain people, like especially if you have bigger traps, it's a better look as opposed to the tight fitting clothes. But I've always been a fan of like baggier clothes because of where I'm from.
I just don't know if it's going to take off.
Nah, it may not.
They're trying.
If anything, I think it's only going to last for about a year or two. But outside of the fashion world, everything's.
I know it always. Everything is old as new again. I saw Brad Pitt in like an ultra baggy outfit over the weekend, and he's like 60 years old. Like, dude, come on.
So how do you feel about that, Bo? How do you?
Well, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah,
dude, I'm so
Jordan.
I buy from the same like 4 companies. Everything.
Same.
If you look in my closet, it's all the same stuff. I wear the same stuff every day.
Same. I'm also on the side of like not wearing designer things, but wearing things that look or like almost duplicates of it, but it looks kind of the same, just ain't the same.
Just that feel. Just that feel. Yeah, I saw the extra baggy out of Myles, so that was good.
You're hitting it on the head, though.
Yep. All right, he had this to say about Micah Parsons seeking a contract extension with the Cowboys via, I don't know who Abby Jones is of DLLS, Dallas Sports. I think he deserves whatever he's earned. Once I got the chance to train with him, I've seen his work ethic. I've seen how he attacks the weights, the running. He's 100% committed to his craft and getting better every day. He has that level of dedication to the game. He should get every penny he is owed. The one thing that's and this is where I think NFL players, this is where I think this gets into trouble, and this is the spot that Hendrickson's in down in Cincinnati, is the Cincinnati Bengals are willing to pay him what he's owed. He wants to tear up what he's owned and make more.
Correct.
And that's where the disconnect comes with fans because, and I don't think a lot of fans realize this, NFL contracts are not guaranteed. So there's the way that this always works is it's the majority of it's paid in bonus. If you're great, it's paid in bonus. It's usually up front or it's staggered. But once those guarantees come off that contract, the player wants another contract to justify the risk of going out there and playing.
Sure.
All of this would be absolved if they were just guaranteed contracts. NFL doesn't want that.
Clearly. I think
very clearly. And so they give them other things in lieu of it. But you don't ever hear about this in the NBA or Major League Baseball or even the NHL. Like, you don't hear about people saying, I want to redo my contract. You play until your contract's done or until you have a year left on it, then they trade you for assets. Like, that's the way business is done. The NFL is the only one where this is the case.
Yeah. There has to be a happy medium for that. I don't know what it is. Like, okay, you don't want to guarantee the full contract. Do you have to guarantee half of it? Do you have to guarantee?
I know we're seeing more. I mean, you're seeing more of these. You're seeing draft picks signing now, guaranteed contracts. Well, I think that's when the fans lose. That's where you lose the fans because their view of it is like, wait a second, like you signed a contract, go work for that. The player is saying, yeah, but my next year isn't guaranteed. This is the end of my guarantees. I can't risk my body on this sport unless I'm guaranteed. And it just feels like we just chase our tail on this thing.
So, I mean, especially if you draft a quarterback in the first round now. Like, okay, you're going to get them for 5 years. And it used to be, hey, we got them for 5 years. Mm-hmm. 4 years and an option for 5th. Okay, so it's probably going to be 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, now, by the end of year 3, you better be working on the extension, have an extension. You really signed him for a 3-year rookie deal.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
That's what it's become. Or if you're a player of consequence, by the end of year 3, you better have a new deal in place because at the end of year 4, okay, you might be coming back fully. I think it fully guarantees that 5th year when you pick up that option, but the player's not signing for that. The player's at that point's going, I'm ready for my contract extension. It's time.
No, and the other thing is like the smarter organizations get ahead of that stuff. we typically get ahead of that stuff. The
Yeah.
Eagles are the best at it. I mean, they draft people, are talented, then they get extensions. They jumped the table on Jalen Hurts' extension. Now it looks like a bargain.
Sure.
That's the way that they operate. They give you the money right away. That way you don't have problems down the road. So that would seem to be the way to do it. Not only do you have the Parsons deal out there, you have T.J. Watt's deal out there too, as they're both looking to get extensions at some point this summer. Speaking of defensive ends wanting extensions, Trey Hendrickson and the Bengals have resumed communication, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. Hendrickson missed the team's mandatory minicamp, subject to about $105,000 in fines. You know the Cincinnati Bengals do not have joint practices this year? They're not doing it?
Really?
Yeah.
What's the thought
They gotta-
process there?
You know what I thought. Mike don't want to pay for hotels. He doesn't want to pay for
motorcades and
yeah,
buses.
no, why?
and
We're fine.
security
Practice. We got a whole team here. Why do we got to bring more? Why?
Tell you
got
what, if
80
they want
guys.
to come here,
Yeah.
great. We'll do joint
Well,
practice.
as long as I don't have to pay for lunches, we'll do that.
It's
Get
to
that
be
sorted
determined.
out. Get that sorted
That's
out
a
a
good
little
point.
bit. That's what I thought about it. I have not ever thought that Trey Hendrickson not being there was a thing. I've always thought
He'll be there the first day of training.
he'll
camp.
be there when it matters, or he'll be there for the first game. Like I remember Hoff saying when he was at the peak of his playing, like how many days did you need to get into get ready to roll? He said 3. Trey Hendrickson, he's not the Hoff, but maybe it takes 7. Like he doesn't need a month and a half to get ready to go on that side of things. So some news down there on that. The only there are 2 teams going this week. The Ravens have their mini camp this week, and there's one other team in the NFL that's got mini camp this week. Everybody else is all done with mini camp. NBA Finals resume tonight. Game 5 in Oklahoma City. That series is tied 2-2. I don't know why they didn't play last night on a Sunday night. I don't know why you wouldn't play on a Father's Day Sunday night. But they didn't. So they
Let's
played.
drag this out as long as we can.
They played Friday, then they were off all weekend, and then they play tonight. The NHL played Thursday in Miami, Saturday in Edmonton, and then they'll play back in Miami on Tuesday in Game 5 or Game 6 rather of that series. To me, it felt like on the NBA side of things, it felt like Indiana blew it in the last one.
And you felt like if they didn't win that one,
yeah,
then maybe there's a chance this completely shifts Oklahoma City's way, and then you're in trouble.
It's a massive one tonight. Absolutely massive game. Game 5 winners in a 2-2 series are a decidedly advantageous position going forward. So that one is tonight. I mentioned tomorrow night Florida and Edmonton for the Stanley
a great
Cup.
series.
It has been. Florida leads that series 3-2. It's been a spectacular series, and it was one of those ones where if Edmonton, whoever's going to score first on Saturday, was that Saturday night? Yeah, whoever's going to score first on Saturday night was going to win. It was Florida, and they put it on. Florida's just, they're incredible. Really deep, good to go. Also, this in the sports world, Joey Chestnut announced he's making his return to the 2025 Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. 16-time champ. He was banned to competing for partnership with a plant-based meat brand, so he did his own thing with Netflix last year. It was funny, like the first person that put this Nathan's thing on the map for me was Kobayashi.
Yeah.
Not Chestnut. It was Kobayashi who did it. And then Chestnut came along and just lapped the field. I can't stand this thing.
Really?
I hate it.
It's on a bucket list. I want to go see it.
You want to go?
I actually had some of my buddies that went.
They
saw
went?
it.
They go to Coney Island and they did it. Yeah.
Said it was amazing. The people watching, second to none.
Yeah. I bet that part is.
Yeah.
Bet that
They're
part
like the
is
hot
second
dog
to none.
stuff, whatever. You're cocktailed up. It's 4th of July.
How many do you think you could choke down before you got sick? The way they do it with the water.
I don't know.
How they dip them.
Yeah.
And all that. You got to dip them to make the bun go down.
Yeah. Nope. I enjoy a hot dog. I don't need to.
I like a dog too. What do you go? What's your go-to?
I am a ketchup guy.
So am I. Why is that some sort of a big
I don't
beef?
know. I was waiting on backlash.
No, I'm not. No. I'm in an ideal world. Like if I was to make the dream hot dog, I almost never have one. You can almost never get this. You give me the dog, you're going to go 1 row of mustard on one side, 1 row of ketchup on the other. And then before I put the relish down, if they have like those American cheese, like the cheese from that melts, the fake cheese, like the stuff
Sure.
that's what I want. You give me one of those guys on the dog and then the relish on top. Boom.
See, I'll do a ketchup, I'll do a mustard, and then I'll turn the hot dog. So you get everything mixed
mix it
together.
all up.
Yeah.
There you go. And then you go relish on that too.
Yeah.
So we're similar.
Yeah. No,
That's how you do
mustard's
it.
hit or miss for me. Just depends what kind of mustard it is. Like I'm not Stadium mustard guy.
I'm not either. I don't like that. The brown mustard I
Yeah,
don't like.
I like the yellow. I had a nice yellow jalapeno one yesterday.
Now you're talking.
From Cleveland Mustard Company, I believe.
Yeah, they do a good job.
Yeah,
They do a very good job.
It was
yeah.
pretty awesome. Yeah, the brown, not really my thing.
Is that a New York, Chicago thing? Like you can't put ketchup on a hot dog?
I think so. My one buddy, I'm waiting for a text from him because he'll be like, "You're dead to me."
Why?
Because he's
Where does that come from?
anti-ketchup. Like ketchup shouldn't be put on anything other than fries, maybe.
Because it came from Pittsburgh. Because Heinz Company or what? What's the problem?
I don't know. I don't know what his problem is. I'm a purist. Me too. I like a hot dog.
Yeah.
It
was
I had to
always
do hot dogs and Italian sausages last night. Now I wouldn't put it on an Italian sausage, but I did a little
Italian
mustard
sausage
and
or brats?
Italian sausage.
So you go to then you with the peppers.
Yeah.
Then that way.
Mm-hmm. I had a little.
You go
I had
sauce
little
on that, or what do you?
There was marinara on the side if people wanted that last night.
So that or like the brat with the mustard and the kraut.
So it's funny. We had beers and brats at the German Club Friday.
Of course you
I
did.
knocked out a full weekend.
You did a tour of Europe.
And then went downstairs today for lunch, and it was like brats, sausages, and I'm like, I'm out. I had a lot going on there. How about a turkey burger? I think I still go the Italian sausage route with the peppers and onions.
Okay.
But I do like a good brat. Or a wurst.
Yeah.
With the kraut.
With the kraut. That's tough to beat.
You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. That's one that grew on me. I did not like it at all as a kid.
No.
And with the German heritage, I was constantly being fed it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I like
New
it
Year's every year at my dad's mom's. Here's a giant batch of kraut.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Where's the bread and the peanut butter?
Yeah.
I'm good.
I
I'm
don't
not
need that.
going in there. I'm not getting that.
Did you ever have red cabbage?
Yes.
We used to call her Grossmutter. My dad's grandma, my great grandma Seidler, she would make every Thanksgiving would do red cabbage, and it was red cabbage. It was a vinegarous smell. I could never choke it down as a kid. My grandma then would sometimes put like some bacon in it to try to salvage it, and that helped. I have not had it in probably 30 years. I don't even know. I know I can tell you I could smell it. I can smell it right now, but I could not tell you the taste of it. I don't know if I would like it or not now, but it was a staple. Every Thanksgiving was red cabbage.
Wow.
And it would smell up the whole place. There was no way to avoid it.
Because of the vinegar alone.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and then cabbage has a smell to it. So like the combination of the two would take over the whole operation was the red cabbage. We'd have it every single time.
Huh.
Yeah. All right, we're going to do a little quarterback competition, see what PFT's Mike Florio and Chris Sims have to say about. I'm curious to see if they know the real truth, because Mary Kay wrote about it again this week. We had her on last week. We've been talking about it for a month about what the real truth is with the quarterbacks. I'm curious what their version of the real truth is. We'll have that for you coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Add more fun to your fandom with the Valley Bet Sportsbook app. Download today, get 50 back in bonus bets. You place that first wager of 10 or more. Valley Bet is official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns.
I got this from Mac Jim, who tweets at the show. I don't know what it is, but golf course clubhouse dogs and sausages are always good.
I can tell you what it is. It's the same reason that it tastes great at a ballpark. You're having the time of your life. You're playing golf. You assimilate the hot dog with the golf. Same thing
going
with
back to what you were saying
hot
with your
dog,
kid.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, we were saying that in the break. That's what I did with the littles when they were really little, and I would take them to the golf course with me. And Peyton, I remember this, NBC, I remember this especially. Like we would go to the course. I would let him pick out the color Gatorade that he wanted and the candy bar that he wanted, and we would go play. So for him, it's like training a dog. Speaking of, I got to run something by you with Buddy. He did something I've never seen him do before in just a second.
Oh.
So he would then, for him, he would equate golf, hanging out with Dad, drinking a Gatorade, sucking down a Snickers. Perfect.
Yeah.
Win.
Okay.
I'm in, Dad. Let's go. When can we go? Let's do the
again?
golf.
Yeah.
So Buddy Garrett, I don't know if anybody else has one. He's a retriever.
Yep.
He's terrified of the pool.
Gotcha.
Now, I've heard that that retrievers versus labs, like labs will just jump in. They can't wait.
Sure.
And he won't. Like, he pushes. I've tried to, when he was little, I would try to, carry him in, and he would panic. He hates it. And now he just won't go near it. So, the boys, he'll run around the pool as the boys are in the pool and, chase them and bark and play, but he won't jump in. So it's hot. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get him a kind of a little splash pad that he can bounce around in and lay in the pool and cool off.
He could float on a little bit, and you just kind of go.
Oh, no, not in the pool. It's outside. He won't go near the pool.
All right.
So it's you put it on the grass.
We had the pad that we put the dog in the pool.
No, I tried.
Oliver would be like,
he hates it.
And he'd just float, and you're like, all right, yeah.
I
Honey,
guess.
this was an awful idea. How do we get the dog out of the pool?
No, he's on the outside.
All
It's like a splash pad. So there's a sprinkler around it, and there's a pool of water that goes. So he was having a ball. It was fun for him. Got him to kind of sit down in the water and see it was cool, and that was okay. Loved in this. He drank a lot of it. Is what he ended up doing. He ended up drinking a lot of it. So I'm going in Sunday. We were outside all day, and this was probably all morning. It was probably around 2:00, and I go upstairs, and he waits at the base of the stairs, and then he just pees on the carpet. Now, he hasn't done that since he was 6 months. It was almost like an act of defiance. And I was like,
what
are we doing here, brother?
Yeah.
This is not what we do. So we had a talk.
I wish I could have watched
And then
that.
we went outside. So 45 minutes goes by, and my wife's by the fire pit has some stonework and stuff around it, and we're up on that level. And she's standing there, and he just pees on the sidewalk. Now there's grass everywhere. So then we have another talk. And then I said, go. There's all this grass, go there. So I said, go potty, and I pointed. Then he went out and went to the bathroom for probably 3 minutes straight. So I'm like, obviously he had to go. I don't understand why he did. Obviously he overdrank and he had to go. And I don't know if he couldn't control it or what, but what I didn't understand is why he didn't just go where he always goes. You'll have to ask the shot queen about that. I've never seen that type of behavior.
Where is the official animal warden?
Yeah,
of
we
the
need
show?
the warden on that.
D'Souza.
I don't know.
Let's go.
Strange, though. It's very strange behavior.
Could he have a UTI or something?
No, because I don't think so. He goes to the vet quite often, but also because
Do you have a wing named after your dog, too? Because I'm pretty sure I have half a building built
could.
in West Park.
No, if it gets so bad, then, I'll save that.
Yeah.
But, no, because he was right back to normal he was normal Friday, he was normal Saturday, and he's normal today. And he was normal last night after he did the two things. It was like he was defiant. And I'm like, I did this for you, dude. What are we doing? What are we doing? So I've never seen him do that before.
And he had fun.
He had a ball. He was
with the
wagging
pad.
and having the time of his life. It was strange. I
don't know.
I don't know if he just never drank that much water in one sitting. He couldn't control it. I don't know. But he has not done it inside since he was 6 months. I mean, it's been years.
Yeah, that doesn't make any
No,
sense.
no, it's not normal. Let's see if this makes sense. Here's PFT's Mike Florio and Chris Sims discussing the Browns quarterback competition. Actually, before we play this, you and I are going to pick our sides as one of their top 5 training camp storylines. Before we play this, though, do you think they will have this right in terms of what's happened here in the last month, or do you think they'll follow the narrative?
So I cut it up.
Oh, you've cut it. Okay.
Yes.
So I think they're going to follow narrative, and I don't think they're going to have it right. That's before I play it. That's my hunch.
Okay.
Let's have a listen.
The storylines we are looking forward to, whether it's
You're done.
or anything else, it's as broad as we want it to be. When training camps open and the teams gather and stuff starts to happen, what are the storylines that we will most be looking forward to paying attention to? First one for me is the Browns quarterback. What are they going to do? Who's going to get reps? How are they going to get a guy ready? Because that's the thing. You need to figure out who your starter is going to be, so you need to have a competition. But you need to get the competition resolved so the guy who's going to be the starter can get ready. I mean, to me, it all points to Joe Flacco because he's the guy who is most likely to be ready to go week 1 with limited reps. He's been there. He's done that. He's a veteran. He doesn't need to go out there and have all of these practice snaps, so he's ready to go week 1. And then you focus on which of the 2 rookies is going to be in line to be number 2 and the guy that is most likely to be developed. But that competition is going to continue all year long, or at least until it's time to put one of them on the field. And even then, the competition won't be over. We may not know who the starter is between Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders over the long haul for 2 or 3 years. They've got their contracts at very low amounts. One was drafted round 3, the other was drafted round 5, and they've got them for 4 years each. This competition may last for a very long time, but I think that how this all works, and I still am putting the flag in the ground on Kenny Pickett won't be there when training camp opens. I think it'll be Flacco and Gabriel and Sanders battling it out with Deshaun Watson possibly showing up at some point saying, I've been cleared to play, deal with me.
Yeah, no, I hear that too. I'm excited to see how that plays as well. How they divvy up the reps, who and how much they play in the preseason games, and where that all goes is definitely fascinating. And they've put themselves in quite the awkward position there.
Okay, so I think I was mostly right because he was he was very quick to push Pickett aside.
Yes.
And to say that he wouldn't even be here.
That's the Florio he's got the Steelers back at all times.
Yeah, I think it's probably the one. I feel like we've done a good job of explaining that here on the show, and I feel like I have to explain it like in my private life a lot. But the one thing I just keep saying is, like, you have to understand that they view Kenny Pickett the same way, almost the same way as you would view Gabriel and Sanders. They're all young quarterbacks. Kenny's just got 25 starts in the league, so that gives him a heads up. Remember, he's the first one they acquired. The one difference between Pickett and the other two is the other two are under team control for a long time.
Yeah.
And they're relatively cheap, whereas Pickett is not under team control for a long time, and if he plays well, you're going to have to redo a contract. So that could make that one a little bit sticky. The one thing and Mary Kate again she did a great job today in the story that she wrote today that I read about this. The one thing about the Flacco part of it is we've always said that Flacco's the break glass guy, and that's the way he was handled in minicamp.
Sure.
I do think his first part is on point. Like if you get to a point where you essentially have like these guys are kind of all the same. Does it make like, for example, if Gabriel and Sanders catch up or surpass Pickett, then at that point you'd have to have a decision about how to start the year, and it would be Flacco at that point. But I think that's going to be the thing that's going to be fascinating to play out.
Yeah. I mean, do we go to camp with 4 quarterbacks?
Yes, 100%.
I think we do too. Yeah. I don't agree with the whole Pickett won't be here. Pickett will be here.
No.
Now, what those look like, do they reset the system based on what we saw in minicamp? I don't know. I mean, is Flacco your number 1? Is Pickett your number 1? One of those two is number 1, and then is the other one the break glass guy? And then the 2 rookies are for 2 and 3? Maybe.
I think. I mean, that's kind of what I've been saying this for a month. I really think there's a chance that we could have 4 quarterbacks into the regular season a little bit. that could be the case.
I think
you're
it's
not
totally
gonna,
in play.
You are not going to allow one of those rookies to go through waivers.
No.
You're not going to do that. So you're going to be in a situation where I think you could see 4 of them in that spot. So, that's not bad out of Florio. He's
It
was
was
on a right track.
Like when you asked, I said, "Well, I don't want to give it away, but it wasn't bad."
No, it's not bad. And I just think he's just
better than some of the things.
He's minimizing the shot Pickett has, and most have, quite honestly. Most people have. This is Chick Nub. That's a very good job. He's a loyal listener. He goes, I can't hear Mike Florio anymore without thinking about his Tommy DeVito rant. That was the most uncomfortable 15 or so minutes of radio I've ever heard.
Try to get it back.
Same.
I don't think either one of these guys were here. It was
such an odd choice to go that route with it. It was kind of the fun story that everybody has. Everyone was having fun with it in the league, and he took it as like. He was like, which one had the problem in this? Well, I'm looking at you like you've seen The Sopranos, Brock. Was it Sill? Who had the problem with the Columbus Day Parade?
Sill,
yeah. It was a little bit of that. He was kind of Sill in The Sopranos on that side of things.
Yeah.
You're going to hear from Myles Garrett coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. I tend to head from the podium presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here is all-pro defensive end Myles Garrett from Mandatory Minicamp.
You guys are done.
Feels good. I mean, I've been back here a couple of times. Don't really make my presence aware to you all guys. You all, sorry.
Hey, Myles, last week Jim Schwartz said he expects your best season out of you in 25. And he thought it was because some of the stuff for the offseason, right? The huge contract, everything that went with that. Do you feel that pressure to have your best season?
The great power, with great power comes great responsibility. That would make him my Uncle Ben, right? I mean, I look forward to having my best season for sure, and I think it's trending that way. Feeling really good, and I think everything's pointing in that direction. And I like where we are as a defense unit. It's really firing, really rolling, and I think it's really clicking as far as the scheme and the plays, especially early on. That's big.
Do you agree with that sentiment that with great power comes great responsibility?
Yeah, I do. And responsibilities never changed. The powers never changed. Just today I stepped forth, here at this facility, with this organization. I've had an opportunity to have a platform and to set a standard, and I got to continue to be the leader for this team and set that standard.
Hey, Myles, when you asked him for that trade, you said that you didn't think this team was ready to win. That's why you wanted to be traded. So how do you assess the roster as it is right now?
How do I assess it? Well, that's what minicamp and training camp is for. We assess it every single day. Seeing how guys, attack the practice field, how they come in and prepare, from day to day. And if they don't get it, you make them get it. Like I said, being that leader, setting that standard, and showing guys how it's done instead of expecting them to know it. Guys come from different places, come from college, and you got to push them in the right direction. You got to guide them.
But do you think this team could be better than you thought it would be?
I know they'll be better. I know we will be better.
Myles, what are your early impressions of these young quarterbacks? Obviously, we've seen them for the past couple months. You got some reps with them today. And just what are your impressions seeing them on the field, in the building?
Well, oh Lord, made out the divine intervention. I only really saw Dylan today, as far as getting reps in this team, and he looks composed. He's running the offense pretty well. His eyes got pretty big when I got free and I was face up on him, but all of them look pretty calm, just going through their texts and going through their calls, making the plays they need to make, not doing too much right now, and they'll have time to continue to display their talents, and it's just one day at a time. Continue to earn the trust of your coaches and your teammates, and I think they'll be able to open up the game.
You just expressed the utmost confidence that this team will be better than you thought it was going to be. So just wondering what's kind of giving you that feeling at this point.
Being here, always staying in communication with the guys, seeing how they're working, and continue to be a presence even while I'm not physically here. But I'm back, and now it's time to go.
Do you have any conversations with some of the guys like Denzel coming back after the hectic offseason and everything that happened with trade requests and everything like that?
For sure. I've talked to the guys, and they understand. It's a business, and we love what we do, and I love this team, and he understands that I was trying to do what's best for me, and after talking with him, and like I said months ago, talking with AB and Kev, what's best for me and what's best for this team, eventually that aligned, and we looking forward to the future of this team and how we can achieve the goals that we want to.
What's your message to do to help get the most out of your teammates? Everyone knows what you can do as an individual, but for you guys to get this thing on track, it has to come from the players. So what can you do to help extract the very best out of your teammates?
I think the intensity and the urgency just has to take another level, take it another level up rather, and can't expect someone else to do it on any other side of the ball or any other position room. Got to be the leader in the entire team, and that's what's been laid out for me. Like you've said, Jimmy said it, Kevin said it, and I'll take the reins and I'll be that guy.
What's the outgoing message to Nick Chubb as he starts a new chapter of his career?
I love Nick. And I think a lot of the guys who are in this locker room still feel the same way, as I do. It crushed us to see him get injured, have to battle through, and then it happened again. So we want the very best for him. Happy to see him still able to play, still able to do his thing. Want to see him go back to being the player that he was and have a smile on his face, continue to ball out.
Were you lobbying to get him back?
Yeah. That was part of my talks with AB, a couple months ago. Asking the situation with Nick and how that's gonna work out, and how we can get him back here, because I know he means a lot to the fans, but he means a lot to us as well in the locker room. So it's a emotional blow to not have him here, but we got to keep on moving, keep on trucking. We got some very talented backs in that room. Some young, hungry guys who have a hell of an example to watch and some shoes to fill. But he's one of the best to ever do it in the brown and orange, and we appreciate everything he's done.
You've seen him work behind the scenes like most people have. You've seen him overcome these injuries. But obviously there's going to be questions about what he looks like moving forward. What do you think his future will look like in the NFL?
I won't put any kind of parameters, expectations, or limits on his future and what he can do, because he's broken through all the ceilings that we set forth for him, with the recovery from the injuries that he's had, how substantial they've been, and yet he's come back, excelled, and been able to play at a high level. It's tough enough being on an NFL roster and to come back being the guy again and toting the rock. He's special, and I hope he can continue to be that.
You're rooting for him, but how strange would it be to see him find success somewhere else instead?
I think that's strange.
Wrong way to put it. Mixed feelings, maybe?
No mixed feelings. I hope and wish the best for him. That doesn't change whether he's here or anywhere else. If we play him, I hope to punish him. But if seeing him on TV, just playing on Sundays or Mondays or whenever it is, I'm going to be happy for him, because he's able to play this game. That's a privilege.
Myles, they drafted Mason to give you a little help up front. Just what are your early impressions of him, and what do you think he's going to be able to do for you?
I think he's hungry. He's pretty quiet, but I see him watching a lot, I see him learning, and he just really inquisitive. Staying near to make sure that he hears every detail, and just picking up on things. See him taking things from the meeting room to the playing field. Not really asking many questions, but just naturally picking up on those cues.
Myles, I saw you were off on the side, sort of talking to the one day. You guys were talking through some things. Just what are those conversations like, and how much can you help him as he tries to adjust that left tackle spot?
Yeah, he's just trying to get my bit of my cues, my mindset as far as going against him, at that tackle position on that side, and what made me do what move, what triggered this response and this reaction, and just trying to walk through it with him, and help him get rid of some tendencies that he has on that side, and just try to sharpen him up.
A couple more.
You mentioned this a little bit, but we talked to Jimmy Haslam at the owners' meetings, and he did say this is a little different than what Jim Schwartz said, but he did challenge you to step up your leadership and become even more of a leader than you have been, which I think we've watched you grow in that area over the years. But do you have more in that space that you feel like you can do, and how did you feel about him saying that?
I don't feel any ways about him saying it. That's his expectation. That's his expectation from the beginning, and I think losing a leader like Nick as well, it definitely puts more of an expectation on to gain more leadership in other areas. And he pointed at me and put the red dot on me, and that's fine. I'll continue to grow as a leader and as a player, which I expect to every year, and do what I can. He gave me that power, and I gotta be responsible for it.
Hey, Myles, when you said in that interview, you said you had a suspicion who the quarterback would be. So did you know that they're going to go get Joe Flacco?
I had an idea.
You thought it would be him?
Yeah.
And you guys had so much fun that year. I mean, what is it like for you to have Joe back, and does that give you, regardless of what happens in the competition, knowing that Joe is in the building, Joe's in the house, does that give you some excitement, comfort, whatever? How do you feel about it?
He's a calm, cool presence in the QB room, which I think you always need when you have young guys in there. And I mean, it doesn't hurt at any time. And even if you have a veteran, just someone to give you, some sound, insightful advice, to help you, walk through things. That's always, a great asset. So, to have that in the QB room, which is the most important room in the building, that's great.
What do you think about Aaron Rodgers coming into the AFC North?
What do I think about it?
Face him twice a year.
I think it's a good opportunity to put him in the graveyard.
That's nice walk-off for Myles on that one for sure. Ohtani's pitching tonight.
Yeah, what's up with that?
He's going to pitch 1 inning. So this is like the typical one where you'd go – in the old days, you go to the minors, but they can't take his bat out of the lineup because he's the best player in baseball. So he's going to pitch 1 inning for the Dodgers tonight. Crazy stuff. 10 o'clock on that one.
Does it all.
He really does. All right, the next level is coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Thanks for listening. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.